So here I am, the last place I want to be, asking the question, what's wrong with my mother? I went to my therapist and I was telling her that whenever I go see my mother, the first thing she says is, "What took you so long? Why are you dressed like that? Oh, your hair is a mess." She's always critical, negative. First thing and last thing out of her mouth is very hurtful. My therapist said she can only get away with that if you allow her. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? She said, as soon as your mother starts with the criticism, you need to leave. I said, but I would never get in the front door. So she said, well, then don't go in the front door. Okay. So the next time I went to go see my mother, I, knock. She opens the door and she says, why are you wearing that? You look a mess. So I turn around to leave. And she says, where are you going? I said, my therapist told me that if you greet me with criticism, I should just leave because I don't need to accept that behavior. So my mother said, okay, so, well, you going to come in? So we talked and she was less critical. And every time she would start criticizing again, I would get up and she would stop. And this went on for a couple of months. So things got better. My therapist was right. You don't accept the behavior, it will end. Until a couple of months later. My mother invites me over to the house for brunch. She never did that. She may have food or something, but we don't have a formal brunch. She said she was having a friend over she wanted me to meet. It was my therapist. When I told her what my therapist said, my mother asked what the therapist's name was. So for the past couple of months, she was researching who my therapist was, who she knew who knew the woman, and my mother befriended her. So when I came to the brunch, this was their third time eating together. And when I come in, I'm like, Dr. Musgrove, what are you doing here? She says, oh, your mother and I, we met recently. I didn't know you were her daughter. I'm like, well, she knew you were my therapist. And mom says, oh, no, is this your therapist? My mother. So I got a new therapist. And I said, there's got to be a name for that behavior. And my therapist said, yes, there is. It's called a psychopath. To find out who your child's therapist is, who's helping her work through her issues, you befriend her, and then have the woman say to your child, oh, your mother is a lovely woman, when the woman is actually a psychopath.